Welcome back to the channel. Today we will talk about root bridge selection, and in a previous video we talked about this, but now how can we protect our root bridge? Specifically, how do we do this when someone is trying to attach a new switch into the network and they are not allowed to do so? Let's go on. So here we have a basic environment, just a core switch, access, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will be pumping out more videos for you. Like I was saying, here we have core, access, and we have what we're calling a rogue switch. It's just basic configuration. You see on the core switch, all ports are set as designated, so that means this is the spanning tree root. So if we take a quick look at that, we'll see that this bridge is the root. You see that right here. Okay, and that is perfect. Now let's say that there is an employee that is not satisfied with the fact that they only have one wall jack to plug in their corporate assigned computer, and he gets the bright idea to say, hey, I'm just gonna bring in this little 8-port switch. I'm gonna plug it in here, and now I could plug my phone in there, I could plug in my corporate assigned laptop in there, and I'll also bring my MacBook from home, and I'll bring my other device and plug it all in there, and no one will know. Well, that happens a lot. It happens constantly. But there is a way for us to protect ourselves, because this rogue switch, depending on its configuration, can actually become the spanning tree root, and we do not want that to happen. So how do we protect our environment so that Joe Schmo does not plug in this device here? Well, there are many ways. In many high security environments, all ports are shut off. But if we come here to this switch, I would say that the majority of places look like this. All interfaces are enabled. No one is actually watching. No one is actually tracking which ports are being used. That's your normal environment in an SMB environment. Large enterprises, financial institutions, and other high security areas will have all interface shut off. So anyone that wants to plug something in has to call in, or has to request permission, or has to have the IT department provide a switch for them. But let's pretend that's not the case. Let's pretend this guy just says, I'm just going to plug this in my wall jack. I do this at home all the time. I have a wonderful setup, yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes. So let's configure this switch to protect ourselves. And there's just a couple commands that we need to use. So if we go in global configuration mode, if we go to port fast and select edge, because this is at the edge of our network, we have different options. So first, we want to enable port fast on all ports, correct? So right there, and it gives us a warning. This command enables port fast by default on all interfaces. You should now disable port fast explicitly on switch ports leading to hub switches and bridges, as they may create temporary bridging loops. Well, these two interfaces are not, these are trunks, so they will not be impacted by this command. So if we go in here and we do a show interface status, they should stay as trunk. And yes, GI00 is a trunk interface. So if we do a show run interface G33, it's switch port mode, access mode. Perfect. So this is port fast enabled. Now, if we want to come in here, we could set a command that's called spanning tree BPDU guard. And what does it say? Don't accept BPDUs on this interface. Now, BPDU is what allows the switches to battle it out on the network, and one has to say, you know what, I'm the top dog, I'm the alpha male, this is what happens. And that fight happens throughout your switching environment. So as soon as rogue switch gets plugged in here, he will start participating in that battle. And we don't want him to win. Actually, we don't even want him to fight. We want to tie his hands. And here we go. Spanning tree BPDU guard enable. Control. Now Control Z will get us out of configuration mode. So if we do a show run interface G33, and that's the port we're going to use. Let's pretend that port is what goes plugged into the wall jack for this user. So let's create a connection. We'll go from GI33 to this guy's GI33, correct? And that's the core switch. We need the access switch. Okay, and I didn't catch that as it's happened, but you could see that right off the bat, it blocked that port. It disabled that port. So what needs to happen now? Now, Joe Schmo calls the service desk or the help desk and says, hey, my computer's not working. And depending on the level of expertise, the guy on the help desk, he may start troubleshooting, he may start doing all sorts of things and never notice that his port status went into error disable. So if we do a show interface status, it'll be right here. You see this? This will not come up. Never. Help desk or anyone needs to come in here and go to G33, do a shut, no shut. Let's repeat that. And you see the interface came back up quickly. See, change to up. But immediately it went down again. So again, your help desk would have to come in here and take a look. Hey, what's going on? And as kindly as they know how to be, it would be, hey, sir, or hey, Miss Smith, what are you plugging into the wall jack? Oh, I didn't have enough ports and I wanted to bring my home computer and that's why I'm plugging it in. And I brought a switch, a little 8-port switch that I have at home that I use all the time, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And that's when they know that this is not going to happen. Help desk needs to notify them. Well, corporate policy is that you cannot plug in any switches on our network. That's against company policy. So please refrain from doing so. Now, this could just be a mistake that happened. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I will unplug it, yada, yada, yada. Or you may say, hey, we got this error message here and it could just be a fluke. Who knows? Let's provide a way to recover this without the help desk. Now, most environments will want the help desk or service desk to get involved because you want to know why this port went down, why it's in error disable mode. So just like that, this error disable, you can come in here, you can say recovery, and you can set an interval. Now, for now, let's just put it at 30 seconds because we don't want to wait on this video. So question mark, and that's it. But we also have to mention what the cause is. Why do we want it to recover? Because if it's BPDU guard, usually you want to investigate, you want to talk to the user, but there are other issues that you may need to recover from. So you say, well, you know, if it's something like this, if it's something like that, if something else that's happening except BPDU guard, then I'll let it recover on by its own. But just for kicks, we'll just enable it for BPDU guard. Okay. So what this does, let's see if we can just get the section error disable. Let's see here. Okay, so we see error disable recovery cost is BPDU guard and the interval is 30. But since our interface status is still an error disable, we have to come in here and we have to shut, no shut, and let it go through the process again. So let's watch as this happens. Ooh, I'm so smart. I'm plugging in my switch. I'm gonna get a lot of work done and I'll be able to watch videos on my personal laptop and the company can't say anything to me. So it went down, correct? Because spanning tree blocked that port. So it will never be the main switch. It will not be the root of your environment. And now the user is trying to figure out what's going on. And you see it says attempting to recover. That happened after 30 seconds. And we could watch this time and see that it will do it again. As you see, it blocked it and it shut down the interface. And a smarter user will say, hey, I saw a little light and it came up for a little while and then it just went down. I don't know what's wrong with the network. I hate working for this company. But the fact is that this is protected. Now, here's what happens. If you only enable this on one interface, and once again, it's been 30 seconds and it kicked it off again, it's never going to come back because it's a BPDU. What happens in an environment is that this user will attempt to use all ports. If their office has a port, a wall jack on each wall, they'll try one port, they'll try the next port, they'll try the next port. If we only have this enabled on one port, then what happens is that eventually they get successful. They find a port that doesn't have this enabled, correct? So let's see what happens. Let's pretend this user is now in there. And so what we do, let's just pretend that this is done. So he says, oh, I think this port, let me see if this works. And he uses his same port, but he plugs it into 3.2. Will it block it? Let's see here. And take a look. Now his port is working. And he tells the help desk, never mind, I don't need your help. I figured it out on my own. And yeah, he's so smart, right? It's not there. So this command needs to be enabled on every single port. So spanning tree, BPDU guard, enable, bam. And it started blocking him right away. This has to be enabled on every single port. You never want a rogue switch. Sometimes these are these little 8-port switches, but then their MAC address is such a low number that it beats out all the other guys. So it's a very good way to learn and to make this look good. It's a little, as you would call it, low-level security, but you have to start at the lower levels in order to make this happen. But you know what you need to make happen? Please subscribe to the channel. I will continue to provide training for you. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will continue to make it happen. We will continue to provide this training. Do not let people on your network unless you explicitly allow it.